Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today's review is of the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series Walmart exclusive 6-inch scale Scarif Stormtrooper from Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. This movie is going to be out very soon and I'm very excited about it, and if you're watching this review then I'm sure you are too. Finally, it's gotten to the point where Walmart.com has been restocking it a little more frequently, so I was finally able to procure 2 of them. Looking at the packaging, we have the same typical Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch packaging. You've seen it a lot of times, but there's no designation of this being a Walmart exclusive figure anywhere. Toys R Us does the little silver medallions. Walmart isn't doing anything on these. Side of the box says Scarif Stormtrooper, gives you a little bit of a peek inside. On the opposite side, there is no numerical designation since this is an exclusive figure. And at the back, we get some information about the Scarif Stormtrooper. You get a nice render of the character right there, and it's the same one that we see there on the front. So very cool. And it says, Specialist Stormtroopers stationed at the top secret Imperial military headquarters on Scarif, shore troopers patrol the beaches and bunkers of the planetary facility. So it's interesting because it says Scarif Stormtrooper, but then it also says shore troopers. So is a Scarif Stormtrooper a shore trooper? I'm inclined to think so, but I'm not really 100% certain on that. But it kind of seems, at least to me, that that's probably what the case is. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and spend a few minutes getting this unboxed. When we come back, we'll take a closer look and see what this is like. Okay, and here is the figure out of the packaging. And isn't this a beautiful looking trooper figure? Hasbro just gets better and better when it comes to trooper figures, and this really shines. It's beautiful, gorgeous looking. Not just for the fact that it has a very nice silhouette to it and looks very proportionate, but look at that paint application. It looks fantastic. Very natural, very gritty, and I'm really digging what they did here. Now, one other interesting thing is that you can see that the arms, a lot of the time with super articulated figures, the arms tend to kind of umbrella out. And with this figure, you don't have that at all. They work the articulation out so that it has a very natural stance when it's just standing in a very neutral pose, and I think that's awesome. From all angles, this really looks quite great. Like I said, very proportionate. The joints aren't overtly obvious or anything. Everything's very well integrated. And the paint application is just really great. I mean, overall, this is a very nice Stormtrooper design. It's different, yet familiar. Feels like it fits into the Star Wars universe. Here's a close-up of the Scarif Stormtrooper's head. It's a very nice helmet shape. It does look a little bit like the Scout Troopers from Return of the Jedi, and it also looks a little bit like the Imperial Death Troopers from Rogue One. So it's really cool that they did this. Just something that's, so familiar yet different, and it just has a really nice sculpt to it. The head is a pretty good size in relation to the body. Obviously, it's a helmet, so it's not going to be like a human-sized head. So that's nice. They got it very proportionate. From all angles, the detail is really nice. You can see there's some lines there on the back of the helmet, and the paint. The armor isn't like white. It's like an off-white, more of a beige-ish sort of color, actually, with a lot of nice dirt and grit to it. Here at the front, there's a little red emblem right there. The visor looks nice, very nice and clean paint. You can see a little bit of dirt and grit around it as well. And down here at the torso, I mean, just look at that sculpt work. It's really, really nice. And then by painting it this off-white sort of color, it gives it more dimension. And then when they go through and apply more of this sort of wash to it, and then some of this paint detail to give it a worn look, it just looks really, really good. I'm truly 100% pleased with what I am seeing before me. There's a little bit of a red arm piece right there, and my understanding is that's what denotes the rank. And you can see that there are 3 yellow squares on it. On the opposite arm, there is a white stripe with a couple of black stripes above and below it. And I suppose that has something to do with rank as well. And it is interesting how you can see that this is like a bright white and the rest of the armor is not. And I don't have the regular Scarif Stormtrooper or the captain or squad leader, whatever the 6-inch one is in the main line, to compare for you at this point. But they are a little bit different. You can see here at the belt, this is one of the differences, is that the belt is just totally different. You got these little, it's not really a skirt, it's not really a camo, but you have these little, I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, a pseudo skirt sort of thing. And I guess that would be ammunition. And down here you can see the pants. One nitpick I have is that the pants probably shouldn't be that glossy. I mean, I would imagine they should just be a matte brown color. And you can see that they are very nicely textured. There's a lot going on. The folds look natural. They look nice. Here at the armor portions, those just look fantastic. Very nice armored look to them. And they add a good little bit of bulk down here at the calves. And the paint detail is just phenomenal. You can see like dirt and grit, and if these are shore troopers, then they're on the beach. So I'm not sure what kind of dirt you would get on the beach. Would it be this brown kind of dirt, or would that be more like mud? I'm really not sure. We're going to have to wait to see the film next week to see what happens. But in any case, there's no denying this is an absolutely fantastic looking piece. At the bottom, you do get some peg holes, and the boots themselves are kind of like a very dark brown color. Now, in the way of articulation, we get a ball joint here at the head, and you can move it down and up a little bit, not too much. You get some side-to-side movement. You can do the tilt a little bit. You have ball hinging at the shoulders. Now, do take note, it does kind of hit up here at the top, so I can't flex that one out all the way, but for the right arm, I can. So, just one of those things. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. You get ball hinging at both of the elbows. Very nice. Bends and swivels at both of the wrists. This one goes forward and back, and then this one goes up and down. There's a ball joint here at the torso. It is very tight on my figure. I don't know exactly if that's how limited it is in terms of movement, but it is very limited. And then here at the hips, there's not a whole lot going on. They have ball joints, but you can't really do anything with them. I'm also not detecting any kind of swivel joint here at all. So I suppose that's fine. They do go forward and back a little bit. Not too much though. And that's partly because they are hindered by this sort of cama thing, but they still don't go up all that much. You do get your swivels here at the thighs. You get double bends at both of the knees. So pretty nice. And then you get ball hinging up at the ankles along with your rocker swivels. So the figure is loaded with articulation. It doesn't work as well as we've seen it before though, especially in terms of the shoulders. There is some restriction, at least on this one, and the hips, which seem very restricted. And of course, the ball joint here at the torso, you just don't get a whole lot of movement from it. A head could also be a little bit better, but I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe they went toward aesthetics over articulation, which I'm kind of okay with. I mean, you obviously have a lot of articulation. You can pose it, any way you want, so that's okay. But it would have been a little more ideal if the movement was a little bit better on the figure. In terms of weapons and accessories, you get a single Stormtrooper blaster, and we've seen this before with some of the Rogue One figures. This time, though, it is a darker sort of color, and it also has some silver paint details on there, which we haven't really seen before. And he holds it just fine. You aren't going to have any problems getting him to hold his blaster. Here's a comparison of the Scarif Stormtrooper along with the Toys R Us exclusive hover tank pilot, as well as the Imperial Death Trooper from the main line. These just look really cool side by side, and you can truly see that Hasbro seems to be entering a new era of trooper figures. They're really improving upon them, at least visually speaking, and also functionally speaking. They can hold their blasters very nicely. Now, I do take issue with how lanky the Imperial Death Trooper is. The legs are a little too skinny, and so are the arms. It just doesn't look all that natural. On the other hand, the hover tank pilot and the Scarif Stormtrooper have great proportions and do look very natural. It's also interesting to note that the hover tank pilot and the Scarif Stormtrooper both share a lot of the same parts. In fact, the only thing that's different about the two figures is going to be the head sculpts as well as the little belt cama pieces, and I'm totally good with Hasbro sharing parts between figures as long as the end result is spectacular, and the end result on both of these guys is spectacular. These are two of the best figures Hasbro has ever produced in the 6-inch scale, and I love the hover tank pilot, but I like the Scarif Stormtrooper just a little bit better. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series, Walmart exclusive 6-inch scale Scarif Stormtrooper. All in all, you guys, this is a fantastic figure. Hasbro just gets better and better with these 6-inch trooper figures. I really wish the same could be said for their human figures. Unfortunately, they're not that great at human head sculpts, at least not when it comes to painting them. I've seen a lot of customs where people take the Hasbro stock head sculpts and repaint them to look awesome. So I think it's mostly an issue of paint. Hasbro really needs to improve in that area, make their humans a lot better, because When they put out something like this and then something like Jyn Erso, and then you look at them side by side, there's just no contest. Those could be done so much better, and I'm really happy that at the very least they're doing really well with their Stormtrooper figures. From head to toe, this figure looks remarkable. It's got an awesome head sculpt. It's got an awesome sculpt for the rest of the body. As noted, it does share most of the parts with the hover tank pilot. But you get a much richer coloration here. A lot of painted detail, and I really like that it's not just a white costume. I like how it's more of a tan color, and then you get all of the battle damage and scoring all over the figure. It just looks phenomenal. And whoever is responsible for this work of art should be in charge of all the Hasbro Star Wars figures, because this is absolutely terrific. I do have issues with some of the articulation, mostly the fact that you don't get a whole lot of movement from the joints, especially the head, the shoulders, the torso, and the hips. That really could be better, but again, if they are going to choose between giving us something that's so aesthetically awesome, like this trooper figure, or integrating some joints that maybe give you a little more movement than you actually need, then I'm okay with going more of the aesthetic route. The blaster's great. He holds it just fine, and I'm really glad that I got 2 of them. Now I just need to pick up the squad leader, and hopefully Hasbro does the 3rd version, because there is also a 3rd design that's in the movie. And I really hope that they bring him into the 6-inch line, that way we can have all 3 of them. But totally worth it, and I highly recommend that you add this to your Star Wars action figure collection of 6-inch figures, because it is incomplete unless you have this shining example of what a 6-inch Black Series figure should be. Alright my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If so, please do give us a like, give us a subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, I want to thank you for tuning in to Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.